Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes. Let people know I've gone live. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And I think, as I move along and pick up people along the way, I get to realize I'm not the only person that does that. It's just the way that I express what I'm doing. Everybody is so different, and yet we are so alike. And that is the truth. We're getting closer and closer in being able to move closer, move together in our lives, and creating that world community. We're doing pretty good as continents. You look at the world and you think of all the conflict and all the problems and struggles and, unkindnesses out there. And you can say, oh my goodness, this world is going to pot. It's just going right down the tubes. But if you look back 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, they have always been saying that, right? This is as difficult as it is in our lifetime. But in the next generation, it's going to be a different story. Just like in this digital age appearing in my lifetime, I would never have thought of such a thing. I would never have realized the possibilities. It was fantasy. It was something that that was the Star Trek stuff. That was the Jetsons. That wasn't something that was even kind of contemplated as a serious possibility. And yet, here we are in this digital age. And I think a lot of people misstepped the possibility of that much information, because that's what it is. That's what it allows us to do. For a lot of people who found it difficult, we got this word community this week. There are lots of us, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the lack of community, because it is a big problem in this digital age. It has allowed us to spend more time by ourselves in our safe, right, contained environment that each one of us gets to design, and we do design. But it also stops us from, leaving the couch, leaving our bedrooms, looking up from our phones, having real conversation, passing along that energy in a physical form even, right? And it's causing us problem in the way we're able to maintain our weights. We are not just, right, gaining a little bit of weight. We are gaining a lot of weight, because in this, like that movie, that animated movie, Wall-E, right? We're being digitized as human beings. We are all going to be just sitting in chairs, all hooked up to tubes that are going to just take care of us. And we are just going to live vicariously through whatever feed catches our fancy, right? And whether that feed is video games or cooking channels, right? Whether it's watching sports, unless we actually involve ourselves in the real world, unless we connect socially in groups, we will always be spectators and not participants. And that's a sad truth. I wouldn't be sitting here right now without the skills that I picked up along the way. Sometimes it was just in that building of friendships and relationships. Sometimes it was in putting the roof over my head. I worked bars and nightclubs for 15 years, right? But I have built up skills along the way. And I have been able, because I woke up to some of these ideas so late, be able to mingle and find myself situated in networks, and whether or not they were networks that I was suited to be in, right? That's up for debate. But I made it here, and those relationships were very important to me, and I did learn in those relationships, even if it was just in the handling of the heartbreaks and right handling of the disappointments. They're all lessons. Life is just lessons, and I did fill my life up with lessons, and that's a truth, and those lessons have offered me up experience. And so, I'm not fully and wholly coming to the table without those skills that I know that are going to serve me well. But there are lots of people, right, who are just like me, because like I said, I had to build those skills up through necessity, through wanting to be my own boss without, right, having to be dictated to. And the kind of jobs that I took, even the job that I have right now, grateful that I work for people that, give me that rope to be my person, right? To be the person that I am, to be able to practice my craft respectfully within the boundaries of the company, right? In order not to misrepresent and to not uh, get yourself into a little bit of conflict of interest. And I could do so well, right? I'm thinking conflict of interest, right? I really love what I'm doing. And even in the job that I have that puts the roof over my head, that isn't in the field that, right, that is on my goal list. This is the job that allows me to sit in a safe, secure, contained place where I can take in lessons. I recognize that, and I never fooled myself by thinking it was my retirement job or anything, right? And and I consistently make it clear so that it's understood with everybody, because when it's time to go, it will be time to go. But right, you don't jump off of one bridge unless there's another bridge just at the same level. And that's the thing, you want to make sure that these transitions are good for us. So we're talking a little bit about the lack of community in our lives. I had somebody ask me the other day, she came over to my house and I did her taxes. We had a little bit of a conversation. And she asked me, she says, Cindy, don't you ever get lonely? I looked at her, I was a little surprised by the conversation, right? Because of all the questions, and there were questions, but of all the questions, that question, and it was a good question. And right away, she could tell on my face that no, right? I really don't get lonely. Maybe it's in some of the lessons that I picked up along the way, but I think a lot of it is that disillusionment that we have to experience in the experience of living our lives, right? That lots of times when we're let down, sometimes, when we let those walls down just to have them pop up twice as strong as they ever did because of that pain and that hurt, that, right, that we get sucked in every time, that we want to belong, right? That we want to be included. We want to be social, but because we don't have those minimal skills sometimes, right? That sometimes we don't know how to make the first step. And it is a truth. in being a waitress and a bartender, the one thing I came to realize is that you can find a commonality with anybody in this world, and that's the truth. If you're willing to take the time to listen, to join in on the conversations, but sometimes we can't even get to that point. And so, where are we? We're sitting in this digital age that is just a perfect time in this world's evolution for it to happen for people who are a little bit, whether it's shy, standoffish, introverted, private, anxious, hypervigilant, CPTSD, right? Trauma. We could go on and on and on. There are lots of reasons why we pick up these tendencies to spend too much time by ourselves. But this digital age has offered up an opportunity, has actually offered up a gift in our choices, right? To learn to be social, right? And whether it's plenty fishes or coming in here and listening to Cindy, or, going in and watching other people's experiences in their life that they're coming to the table, right? That you can live vicariously sometimes through somebody else's experience and be able to pick up those lessons along the way. I have learned so much in the past half a dozen years. I've been treading water, right? Not even close to being at the end of it. And that is the truth. But I'm certainly grateful that I'm coming to the very end of the beginning of it, right? And, if you're going to throw some gratefulnesses out there, I have to say I am grateful for my community, my mixed batch of misfit toys, right? Right? All broken, all handicapped in some way, but in different ways. Takes all kinds to make the world, and each one of us is going to have a little bit different tendency in how we cope with the difficulties in our life, how we stand fast with our beliefs when we're standing amongst so many other beliefs and understandings, to be able to hold your own, but at the same time be willing to listen to a different idea, to have somebody have a conversation with you in a way that maybe you've never experienced before, but in that experience, it touched somehow, right? It made sense. Possibly even might have become a truth for you, right? Or maybe it just compounded your beliefs even more. But how would you know unless you even had that conversation? In this digital age, right? When I say baby steps, digital age has allowed us to make that movement in a way that's comfortable for us. And sometimes you can do more when you are in a safe, contained, comfortable setting. And, right, you have to say, it's coming to you. It's just a matter of, what do you want to learn? How do you want to move? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? Right? And what are the kind of people that will help to get you to where you want to be? Right? And what kind of people would you like to be there waiting for you when you've created that person that you want to be? And then be that person. right? Be that person, right? Yeah. Kind of that idea. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Be that person that you would want to have in your life. And then that'll be definitely what you'll be attracting in, right? And that's a truth. I've seen that in my own life, right? Even through the struggles, somehow that community will find you. This digital age was perfect for me. Don't think I was meant to get this far. Definitely wasn't. But in my choices, I'm here. And if I'm here, well, I'm going to make good use out of it. I have to. That's my nature. Okay, you guys. That's my good chair. And we'll see each other tomorrow.